Hi, welcome to Carlos Cooks again. Well, it's the weekend and I fancy a treat, so I'm going to make a pizza today. Here's my trusty pizza tin, 12-inch pizza tray. I'm going to cook it in. I'm going to cook the pizza in a pan first a little bit before it goes into the oven. But I'm going to make a Continental salami pizza with a tomato base and basil and black olives and mozzarella on it. It's going to be delicious. So the first thing I'm doing is just making up the yeast mixture, which is going to be used to make our dough. And in the jug I've just put half a cup of warm water out of the tap, and into that 2.5 teaspoons of dried yeast and half a teaspoon of sugar, and I've mixed that all up. And we're just going to let that sit. We're just going to wait till it starts to sort of froth and bubble, like we can see activity happening. It's already started, but it needs a little bit longer. So we're just going to put that to one side and let that happen. And in the interim, I'm going to weigh out the flour and get a mixing bowl ready. And then we're going to make the dough, which we're going to leave to prove on the side for about 30 minutes. And then we're going to put it into the frying pan and stretch it out to the sides. Just cook the base a little bit, apply the tomato base to it, and then it'll slip into our pan ready for the oven, and we'll add the rest of the toppings. Okay, so I'm just getting the flour ready for the dough. Now I like my dough to taste a little bit stronger, so what I'm doing to make a 12-inch pizza is I've used 1 cup of a strong white bread flour and half a cup of a all-purpose flour. That's gone into the mixing bowl with half a teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of oil. I've used olive oil, you could use vegetable oil if you want. And then in a minute we're going to add our yeast mixture to that, and we're going to mix it up to make a dough. I'm not going to use a mixer. It's a very small portion of dough we're making, so we're just going to do it with a spoon until it's mixed, or a spatula, and then we're going to get it out onto a work surface and just shape it before we leave it to prove. The yeast is still bubbling away at the back there. Just going to give it a few more minutes, and then we'll add this all in, mix it, and make a dough. Okay, I've added the yeast mixture, which was frothy within several minutes of sitting on the side, very active, so that's gone into the bowl, and I've mixed it all up with a spatula. And then I've added probably about a dessert spoon or 2 of extra warm water, just because it was a little bit dry and it'll be a little bit easier to mould and shape. And I've just made a dough ball with that, and we're going to get that out onto a floured surface now and work it a little bit, and then leave it to rest for 30 minutes. Okay, I've kneaded the dough on the surface for not even 5 minutes, just to break the gluten up a little bit. Formed a ball, dusted it with a bit of flour, and we're just going to leave it and let it sit there now. Let the yeast start to activate with the flour. Let it prove for about 30 minutes, which I'll put on the timer on the oven, and then we'll be ready to make the pizza. Okay, 30 minutes has passed. As you can see, I cleaned the bowl that I mixed the dough in and turned it upside down over the dough. It creates a little dome over it, just keeps any sort of drafts you've got in your kitchen away from it. And as you can see, we've more than doubled in size. It's perfect and it's ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of semolina flour, because it really makes a nice base on the work surface here, and then I'm going to just roll that dough out to around about 9 or 10 inches in width. And then what's going to happen there is it's going to go into my hot skillet pan, cast iron skillet pan here, and we'll stretch it out over a high heat and just let it cook slightly and stretch the edges out to form a crust right up against the edge of the pan. And then we'll put our tomato sauce base on, which I'm going to show you in a minute. In the oven now, preheating at 200 degrees centigrade, I've got the pizza pan, because we want that nice and hot for when we slide it in once we've got our toppings on. So next I'm just going to make up the tomato sauce base, and I'll show you what's in that. Okay, so this is the sauce for the tomato base. And what you can do is you can use the tomato paste if you wanted to and break it down with some olive oil. I've chosen just to go for a standard sort of plain tomato and basil pasta sauce off the shelf from the supermarket. And into that I've taken a garlic crusher and put a garlic clove in there, and also a pinch of sugar and a generous helping of ground black pepper and Himalayan sea salt. Just going to stir that up, and once we got it in the pan, this is what we're going to coat all over our base. And then I've just got the toppings ready that are going on this pizza. Some of my favourites. I've got a selection of Continental salamis and some provolone cheese slices, some black olives. I've taken a mozzarella ball and I've drained it well, get all the liquid out of it, and just broken that up into sort of chunks. And then spice-wise on top, I've got some frozen basil I've got in the freezer. I couldn't get fresh basil today, supermarket was out, so fortunately I had some frozen basil. That's nice on it, with some chili flakes and oregano, but once again I haven't got any oregano and couldn't get any, so I've got mixed herbs here that have got oregano in. So we're just going to put a little bit of that on as well. A little bit of chili flake for the heat. You could use fresh chili if you wanted, fresh green chili, or if you really like the heat, fresh red chili chopped up. That goes nice on this. So very similar to a pizza diavola then, if you had the fresh basil leaves on it. So next I'm going to roll the dough out onto the semolina flour to about 10 inches, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, the dough rolled out very easily. Initially I started it with my hands just to get all the air out of it, and then just a little bit with the rolling pin over the semolina flour, which is going to give it a beautiful base. And that's all ready to go into the pan. So I'm just going to heat up the cast iron skillet pan now, and we'll just wait for the oven to get to temperature, and then we'll start making the pizza. Okay, the pan's nice and hot, so I've just put the dough in. It was very easy to do. The dough was really easy to lift up with the semolina flour. It didn't break at all. It's got quite a bit of thickness to it because we've done a nice big large piece of dough for a 12-inch pizza. It's just going up the sides of the pan a little bit, and it's on a high heat, and it's going to cook for 3 to 4 minutes. I'm going to put the tomato sauce on now and just cover the whole base. Give it 3 or 4 minutes in the pan, and then I'm just going to lift it up with my large sort of plastic egg lifter I've got, and just check the base, and then we're going to transfer it to the pan that's in the oven heating up and put the rest of our toppings on. Okay, tomato base has been applied. Pizza's just starting to bubble now in certain places, so we're almost getting to the time when we're going to transfer it to the other pan that's in the oven. So I'm going to switch off for a minute and just check the base of it, and when it's done I'll transfer it, and you can see me put the rest of the toppings on before we put it in the oven. Okay, it's been transferred to the pan. It's very easy to do, held its shape, no problem at all. Already starting to get a nice crust underneath with the semolina flour. So first thing I've done is I've sprinkled the mixed herbs with the oregano in over the base, then applied the meats and the provolone cheese, and next we're going to put on the olives, the mozzarella, the basil and the chili flakes, and then we'll stick it in the oven. Okay, rest of the toppings on: mozzarella, black olives, basil and chili flakes. And I've just drizzled olive oil around the crust on the outside, just so it doesn't burn. And that's going into the oven now, 200 degrees, middle shelf, and it's going to take about 20 minutes. I'm going to check it. I'll probably turn it round after about 10 so that the heat is even on both sides and we get a nice bit of colour on it. Okay, just over 20 minutes in the oven. I like my pizza a little bit well done, so I left it those few extra minutes just to get the cheese just starting to crisp on top, because that's the way I like it. I don't like it where it's all gooey. So that's our Continental meat and cheese mozzarella, black olive, oregano and chili flake pizza. 12 inches of dough we made, and then we cooked it in a skillet pan for a little bit with a bit of semolina flour on the base just to crisp it up nice. Let's just have a look and see if we can see that. Excuse me, it's a bit hot, but it's just made a nice crispy coating on the bottom of the pizza. So have a go at making that. It's better than ordering a takeout when it smells delicious. My kitchen smells lovely, and I'm gonna have a few slices of this now for my dinner. So I'll see you next time.